Welcome to the CarehomesOS platform. In this tutorial, we'll be looking at the resident timeline, the care plan studio, the daily care duties. Now, let's go to the resident timeline. What does a resident timeline implies? It is a place where you have a chronological historic view of activities or events as it relates to a particular resident or individual in the facility. So in this demo facility called the Divine Care Home, we have about 3 individuals in it. One of them is the David Pearl, the Anita Grain, the Gregory Stewart. Now we have various tabs at the point here, and then we have the timeline of events that had happened with the individual over the days past. And you can see the date and the time of the event attached to the information. So we have the resident to staff altercation, an incident that happened between a staff and the resident that was logged in the incident report. It shows, if you click the arrow here, it expands to show a little bit of more detail. Central corridor hallway, the resident was abusive and attacked the staff, which at that time was David Pearl, who made the complaint. And then, David Dan, the facility admin here, when being monitored. And then the status of the case had been closed. The corrective measures they were taking was the person was spoken to. So you have that, and then other activities, care plan due date, schedule review of care plan. You have vital signs alerts that shows what happens, which was recorded by Pearl Solo, the delegate, the medical technician. And then you have another recorded vital signs, which are recorded by the caregiver. You have this kind of activities. You have an appointment. So this place provides a view of the activities that have been happening with the individual. The day a person was admitted into the facility is also stated. Assessments, medications that were administered, incident reports, vital signs issues, appointments. So based on the activities, you have multiple tabs here based on the category of activities that has impacted that individual in the residence. So we have Anita Grain as well as our own resident timeline, Gregory Stewart, who is very new, who we just recently onboarded into the facility. Just take note, all those names we are referring to are fictitious individuals. They are not real human beings. So this PHI is that is being shown are not of real persons, and so do not have the regular HIPAA protections for as applied to real individuals. So that's all with the resident timeline page. The next is the Care Plan Studio. What does the Care Plan Studio entail? The Care Plan Studio shows everything about the individual. First of all, the physical grooming parameters, the nutritional intake protocols, the locomotive and skin safety parameters, the cognitive and behavior coaching guidelines, and then we now have the person-centered plan, PCP. We have the community development services. The PCP shows things that would happen with the individual when the person go out, participate in some community activities, with the person's weight be monitored. What are those weekly activities that are going to be engaged with the individual? So in this activity here, there are tasks that can be generated automatically to be able to achieve this person-centered plan. So you can create another passive setup plan by clicking this button and adding what area of the individual life area you want the PCP to affect. When you add it, you choose a targeted date when this thing should be achieved. And then you write the goal that you want to achieve, and then you can now click the add goal. This will now populate this place. Once you do that, you can now click generate task, which will now reflect in the daily care duties segment. So whenever you click generate task, it will generate task that will aim towards achieving this, and that will reflect in this part of the in the next section that we'll be looking at. So the community development services that has to do with day program is the individual part going to day program, and in the day program, what kind of activities are they engaged in? You can add additional community development services. This one is community volunteering. They go out to carry out some library reading programs, participate in volunteer services. So if this activity has become active, you indicate it as active. If it's something that has been proposed but has not been actively engaged with the individual or the resident, you leave it at pending. If it is done with, the targeted date has been achieved, you want to put it as discontinue. So that's how they go. You can do additional services, community development services here into this place using this form. And then we have behavioral support plan. Behavioral support plan has to do with the individual's behavior. Some people have certain behaviors, and then you want to establish a plan on how to support that individual. Sometimes the behavior can be something that is coming up periodically, or something that is just not coming up but happens without announcement. So you want to be able to add a plan to it. How do you want to manage it so that when people see such behavior begin to manifest, what should they do? You want to be able to do that and add other information here. So here you have the functional assessment summary of functional behavior assessment findings, target behaviors. You can add a behavior here. You can say, oh, the person always does this, and the situation is a mild one or a moderate or a severe one. You can add the frequency for which this thing happens, the trigger towards that behavior, and how long that behavior can take place. Once you've filled all this information, you can click the add button, and then it will populate in the behavioral plan. Then you have the proactive strategies that you want to use. If you want to add more proactive strategies, you can, once you write it, you can click this one here. Once you put it here, you can click the add button here, and then crisis emergency protocol. What emergency protocol are you going to take? And then you put the psychotropic medication is a part of it, last reviewed, and the next review date. So once this is done, it will come up. You will come here and put save plan, and then it would show in this place. Then we have the service implementation plan. You can add also services that you want to implement for the individual, where you want to take the person to medical, nursing, based on what category of activities. So you want to add some services that you want to give to render to the individual to be able to achieve that objective. So the service implementation plan describes how each support service is delivered to the VPAIR, who does what, how often, where, and what outcome is expected. So that is how the service implementation plan works. And then we have the nursing care log, just in case the nurse that is taking care of him wants to put in some information based on certain things around him. Maybe there was a wound on his body. There is a PRN follow-up that needs to be done, physician communication, family communication that the nurse had with the family or with the physician. They need to document everything in this section. Post-hospitalization treatment, all of them needs to be documented here. Once it's done, the nurse can save the nursing notes. The next one is delegated nursing task. It says delegated nursing tasks are clinical procedures that a registered nurse has authorized a trained staff member to perform for David Pearl. Each task requires documented training, competency verification, and ongoing RN supervision. So there are tasks that the delegated nurse may assign to the caregiver or the medication tech, depending on the nature of the task and the level of licensing they have, or the nurse that takes care of them. And then that task will be written down here. And then in the shift that the authorized staff that will take carry out their task will be also documented here, and then that task will be executed by the staff. Then we have rights, restrictions, and consent. DDA compliant documentation of all rights, restrictions, including justification, guardian consent, review schedules, and less restrictive alternative. All active restrictions require monthly review. So if you want to do some physical restraint on an individual, or you want to restrict the person from going out to the environment, you want to do, you had a chemical restraint, personal possession restraint, a visitation restriction, a communication restriction, a financial restriction. Anything you do has to be documented, and this is where you input that information. The description describes specific restriction that was being implemented. Why is the restriction necessary? What specific risk does it address? What less restrictive alternative we are tried or will be pursued? And then we have the new review date and the expiration date of such data that is being activity that is being carried out on the individual. So this is a consent form. If this document is not filled, no staff will be able to apply restraint when there is need for restraint. So this for individuals who have volatile personalities, there is need for the family or the legal guidance to be able to fill this form. So this is all that it entails with respect to the care plan studio. So each of the individual will be listed here. If you have more than 10 or 20 individuals, they will all be listed here. And as you click on each, you'll be able to see what the individual's care studio plan is. And then you can, as maybe the nurse or the medical technician or the admin, can populate more information in this section for that client or individual. The next is the daily care duties. These daily care duties is subject to the community, person-centered plan. And so anything you populate in the person-centered plan, there are tasks that will be initiated for you to carry out at the different times of the shift. So we have the night shift, which starts from 11 p.m. through 7 a.m. We have the morning shift from 7 a.m. through 3 p.m. And then we have the afternoon shift, which starts at 3 p.m. through 11 p.m. So this task, all you have to do is, if you administer the task to the individual, all you have to do is to click the sign off button, and then the task is initiated for that individual. And so these are the ways these tasks are viewed. You can be focused on who you want to attend to, for in a situation where the residence has multiple residents, and then there are multiple staff attending to them. A staff that is responsible for David or Anita or Gregory will solely focus in signing out the task for this particular resident. But in a situation where the person is just one person attending to all the clients in the house, that person will have to view all and be able to carry out the activities as already listed. So at the top here, it shows the summary of activities for the day, not overall, for the day. So here we have 99 activities. Because I signed off 2, it said 2 complete. If I skip this one, I have to give a reason why I am skipping it. And I say out of facilities, and I had a log bypass. This one documents 1 as skip. There are 2 overdue tasks, which has a way of you of knowing which task is overdue. All right, so that a 9 shift task from the previous day that is overdue, and we'll sign that out. There's another one. This one. We'll sign this one out. So when we go back up, you see the overdue is now 0. There is no escalated task, and so you can add task manually here. You can add the duties manually here. This one, if you click this one, it will go direct to David Pearl. If you click this, you would choose who you want to assign the task to. The same, I think they're the same. Okay. This one will auto-populate based on the PCP plan. Once you click this based on the PCP plan, every task as it relates to the PCP plan will be reflected here. And then that day you can now sign off. Sign off for that day. So these are the 3 segments that we're going to be looking at in this video. Please go to CarehomesOS.com for more information. CarehomesOS.com. And if you have any question, please leave your question in the comment section. Thank you.